Okay, so I'll get started. This is a new webinar and I've not given it before, so it might be a bit patchy, but we'll run through. I don't think actually the main items that I will have to show will take all that long, but I will be happy to answer any questions and run over anything if it's not very clear as we go through. So quick agenda. Just to go through housekeeping, I'll show some specifics of running protocols and also our task manager. So these are things we added in recent years in response to requests made by some big biotech companies, actually, but which are incredibly useful pieces of functionality for any teams who are using protocols.io. And then also Excel file preview options and plate map functionality that were added to protocols.io as well. So housekeeping, this is being recorded. If you've just joined, it's already underway recording, and anyone who registered for the webinar will receive a copy of the recording and also these slides afterwards. So you can come back if you want to. So don't worry about if you miss something, you can come back and actually watch it later. Closed captioning should be enabled. So if that is something that's helpful for you, feel free to make use. Q&A will generally be at the end, but if you do add questions during, if I see them while I'm in full flow talking and they're relevant at the time, then I'll try and answer them then, but if not, we'll get to them at the end. And as always, do check for other webinars, and also if you want more of a one-to-one session to run over how to do something, do feel free to sign up for a demo. Okay, running protocols. I've got slides, but I will probably jump in and out of slides and the actually protocols.io itself. So first of all, if you've not done a run of protocols.io, this is a way that you can start a dynamic run and step through all of the steps, ticking them off essentially, like you would check items off a to-do list, but dynamically on protocols.io. You can take notes, edit variables, make changes, tweaks, and capture any information that you do during that run to save as a run record. This means you have a run record which will be date and time stamped that you can correlate with any data and results you generated on that day. As you run through, you will see there's a sidebar. It's collapsible. It's going to give you access to the progress of what you're working on. And you can still access the components and things like that. So if you actually want to change things during the run, you can change specific things in any individual step. There is a little plus button. As you get to that step, you can add comments. So you can make observations, notes, just specify something, whatever's relevant, any kinds of notes that you might be taking by hand during a protocol run. Normally, you can make those notes here and they will be captured alongside. You can see all of the comments on the side, but they'll also all be saved together. And I mentioned you can edit, so there's a little edit button to the right of any step. You can edit content in that step, but there is also a way to play with settings a little bit. So if you have a lot of quantities, amounts, like for a master mix or a buffer recipe, you can scale up or down. So if they're all in that one step, you can scale all of the items in a single step. If the whole protocol is the kind of recipe for creating one thing, you can scale the entire protocol. So there's lots of good options to allow you to configure what you're doing during. And the save button as well. Once you started and clicked save, it will automatically be getting saved all the time, anytime you make a change or step through the protocol itself. So that will just be auto-saving the entire time. And it will save to the location where you choose. So this is a screenshot of my demo workspace, and there's a folder in there called Run Records. So I would generally be putting them in there. When it's completely finished, it's green. So when if you've done the run through the protocol all the way through, finished the run, that's where it's saved. You see this green tick box kind of icon, and it will, if you mouse over it, it will tell you that's a completed run record. So you can then open that and view, and you'll have who did what, when, any comments, access to all of that information in that run record. If you didn't finish the run and you left it halfway, maybe it's a protocol that runs over several days, you can start that run and it stays gray like this. And if you look over on the right hand side, you have the option to resume. So you can pick this one back up. So you can come in tomorrow and resume that run record and then finish it off. Or if something terrible happens and you're not well on day 2, but there's someone in the lab who has access to your workspace, they can also come back in and pick up this run record if they've got those edit rights in here. So this is a way of making sure that you can get this nice continuity and can actually finish runs of protocols, keep all of the notes in one place this way. You also can click and share. So if you know that you're going on vacation next week and there's a plan ahead of time, you want to do what you're doing on that protocol run, but you'd like to share it specifically with someone else to ask them to finish it the following week. Presumably you've already had a conversation with them about it. When you click on here, the same as you can with any other files, you can choose to share. So you can share this with someone specific and ask them to finish it off for you. They will get an email telling them that this run has been shared with you. So this was when we were playing around with Lenny, my boss previously. He shared this run record with me specifically. And you can add a note. Could you click resume on the run and complete it? I'll then take a screenshot, blah. So you can do this and then see the runs and get a note. They also show up in the notifications, I should say, which is when you have the red bell in your workspace, you'll be able to find this under shares. So we've got that ability to resume. It's really, really nice. And when you click resume, it will bring you into the run record. So this is what the run record itself will look like. And you can see that 2 of these steps had been completed, and then get to the current status actually had been taken all the way around to 22, but 1 had been skipped. But then I can come in and I will add a comment where I started coming in to complete the run, so we can make notes about what we're doing as we pick it up, and finish off stepping through. And then when you look at that actual run record afterwards, you can see that Lenny did all of these steps on the 22nd of February, and then I completed the others the next day. So we get this really nice overview of who completed the protocol, and any information that's on there. And I'll quickly jump out. I think you're still seeing my whole workspace, so I think this should work. But if I'm in, let me just kill this thing behind here. If I'm in my workspace here, it's very easy to start the run. When you click on the protocol itself here, there's the run option. If you open the protocol too, there are multiple places where you can do this from. So under more, maybe not under more, but when you're viewing it, you also have run here. So we can go from here too. So this is just to show you how this all looks. So start run, I'll pick my run records folder and start run. My internet is very slow, but here we go. So then we get this option to start and go through that run. If I have used components like I have here, I'll show you the scaling functionality that I talked about before. So because in this step there are 2 amounts, I can go to settings and I can say, actually, I want to scale this up by 5 today. You can see that the reagent amounts have turned red in here, and I will click save. So now in the run record, it's going to reflect that I scaled by 5 at this point in time. While I'm running, I can run the counter. So if I've used the amount variable, I can do that and run through. Won't let that run for 5 minutes. I can also add comments. So here's where I'm going to make my notes and add them. But ultimately, and if I've nested in another protocol, I can run through that protocol too. So it works this way, but I'll say done, I've done this, and that's actually, this is going to make me click through all the subparts of that sub protocol. You can see the progress here. If I have included an Excel file, table, I can actually edit this here. So this column, cell on the right actually has a sum Excel equation in it. So if I'm making observations during the protocol, the formula will work its magic on whatever the numerical values are that I'm adding in. So if I want to actually calculate something on the fly during the protocol that perhaps is useful for another part of the protocol later on, the table can be pre-configured so that it works as you go through. And again, any values that you add in are captured as you go through. So I'm going to stop there, and you will now see, if I go back to my file manager, that's this one here that I've just been doing. October the 7th, 11:12 a.m. That's UK time. I'm not sure where you all are. I was on a demo just before this. You can see I did another demo of run record earlier today. But this one's grey. I can resume it if I want to. These ones are green. They're the completed ones. So that gives you a nice overview of the run functionality if you're just using it like this. Let me hop back to slides, and I'll now talk about the task manager. So task manager is a really nice calendaring function that we have on protocols.io, where you can assign tasks that are not protocol related if you want, and put them on a calendar, but give people in your workspace different tasks. But you can also assign protocols to people. And when you look, you'll look the workspace view on the left hand side. When we open out, you'll see tasks is there, and any that are on there will show up in this list view, or you can toggle between to a calendar view. And an individual task, you'll add a title for it. You can search for protocols. So you can search for your own protocols, or you can search for any public protocol if you wanted to be running an NEB, for example, New England Biolabs, one of their protocols. You can find a lot of those on here like this. So you can look for the protocols, toggle the status of it on here, give it a start date, but you can also assign duration. So maybe it's going to take a week, so you can add that it will take a whole week, and you can assign to specific individuals any one task from your space. So on this one, I have added myself and Lenny as different assignees, and you can see that this top protocol I assigned, you can split up the protocol between the members, the assignees. So I said that Lenny will do steps 1 through 5, and that I would do steps 6 through 10 on dates. You can actually give those specific dates. Added another protocol here, but I haven't added the assignee yet. But you can play around, obviously, and do what's relevant here. When you start adding assignee, this is how it looks. So you'll find the member, so Lenny. If I wanted, I could assign him just one part of that protocol, and I could give a date range to it. So I could, if I knew that that was going to take him 2 days, I could put 2 days on it. And then you can add, when you've made the task, there's a very nice option to add to calendars. If you don't think you're going to be looking at your protocols.io calendar all the time, what you can do is export to a calendar that you're working with. So you can download a standard ICS file and import it into your Outlook or your Google or whichever calendar you're used to working with. Sorry, just get a drink. And when you've made a task and you've assigned it to somebody, they will get an email telling them a new task has been assigned to you. Someone's very kindly put your name on this task, and this is what you're expected to do. So I'm going to jump out and actually show you that as well in the platform so that you get a better view of it. So as I mentioned, you can find it under the, you have all your workspaces on the left-hand side. I always end up with lots. If you open that out, just to show you again, it's quite a hidden little carrot there. Open out and then tasks. And this is the view that it will open under. There is the calendar view too. There's nothing on here this month because I think these are all from quite a long time ago. But we have open tasks, we have in progress tasks, and some that have been closed already. If I want to make a new task, and come in and we'll call this webinar demo task, and we might look for a specific protocol. So we'll go with this quick ligation protocol. Oh, it's got 2 versions. We'll go with the second version. That's going to be the most recent one. So we'll add that here. Very quick one, only has 4 steps. And then I can assign this to certain people. So I can see who are members in my workspace. I start typing. I've got Lenny, Emma, and other. Actually, I'm going to assign this to Anne other. And we are going to say, let's hope she's going to do this on Wednesday. So we'll give it a due date of Wednesday. Start date is today. And we'll save that. And so now if I, so that's been added, I can add more comments. So I can also give Anne a note from me about the task and save. And there we can add more comments, things like this. If I wanted to add to calendar, like I said, I can download that ICS file or sync in with various different other calendars. And Anne will go over to my other desktop, hopefully, and we'll get an email about this, and I can show you what that email looks like. I'd cleverly turned my Outlook off to be offline, which wasn't that good. No, I can't find the email. Well, anyway, she will get an email telling her that she's been assigned this. It maybe just takes a little bit longer to come through. But anyway, you can see this now has been added as a task. I am logged in as this is a different account. So this is Anne Other's account using Safari. So this is the workspace that we were in, Emma's workspace, and the task manager. So it's there. I don't know if we get a notification actually. There we go. Yeah. So Emma's created a new task here. So you can see when I've made new tasks for Anne in this workspace. I'm keeping an eye on my email to see if it comes through because I thought there would be a notification email. Maybe it comes later. But anyway, when I then come to this protocol that's been assigned to me, well, I can add my own comments if I want. Also, that should now show up in the calendar view for this week. So we've got that in here. But if I go back to the task, I can start the run from here. So I can actually view the protocol, run the protocol. So I can go straight in and I'm in Emma's workspace. So I can run this and put it into that folder where, oh, it's blocked to pop up, is it? Oh, the beauty, here we go. The beauty of live demos. So now I have that quick ligation protocol. It's just 4 steps. I can do my run of this and it will finish. So we'll say finished run and it tells me it's uneditable after submitting. Do you want to finish it? I can finish that. And now if I go back to Emma, you can see that in the run records folder, so I'm back in my profile over here, that quick ligation protocol, I need to refresh because it hasn't completed yet. It shows it's still a part done. So now that's completed. It's green, it's a completed run record, it's got today's date and timestamp. And if I look at it, I can look here, I can see that it was completed. I can see when it was completed. If I'd added any comments, they would have shown up here, but they also would have shown up on the right-hand side. So that all works very nicely. What about when I've assigned tasks to more than one person, though? The protocol's been assigned to 2 people. So this cut and run demo, let me make that shorter. This has been assigned to me for steps 1 through 50, and then Anne again 51 through 114. But I've already completed my steps 1 through 50. So I can see that that's already been captured, that has already gone through. I can open that run record and it will give me that information of what I did and when I did it. So if there were any comments, the history, we've got that all in here. Let me now, I know it's all a bit, it's making me feel a bit like I've got split personalities. Now I've gone back to the Anne Other profile, and that's this click and run demo. So I can see that Emma did all of this yesterday, and I can now open the run record. and continue. So I can go to where it was finished. Where are we? We needed to get to step 51. So now I can start saying I've done that step. Maybe I will make a comment. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Here. Oops. Didn't want to do that. We could have edited things. I didn't mean to actually click on that, so I won't do that. Done, done, done. We can click through, and let's assume that I've got all the way to the end, and I'll do finish run, and then it will become uneditable afterwards. So that's finished. So Anne has come through and finished off. And if we come back into let me just go back to my file manager in here. In the run records, now that one is finished. So we know that it got finished. And if we go in with the history, you can see that it was the different and other who made those other changes. We should also be able to see there was a comment added, and all of that information is now stored. So we can get this really nice run record and ability to share it across the team this way from within the task manager. Where are we? I was going to come back just to the task manager. The last thing I'll just quickly show maybe is how to well, you can switch the progress. So that one was in progress, but actually maybe we'll shift it to closed now. And then it will be moved across on the list view that we have here. And we can just view the open ones if we want to, or we can view everything, or the ones that are in progress. So there's a lot of nice functionality on here. If I create a task though, demo 2, and let's look for something Illumina. The search is a little bit there we go. Sometimes it's a little bit slow to find you the things that match. So this one's got 91 steps. I am going to assign, we won't pester Lenny because he'll get emails and it will be annoying, and myself on here. So I've got 2 assignees, and then on this one, we save it first. Sometimes you need to click save before I'll let you do the next step. So on the add assignee, here we can say, and we want her to do steps 1 through 50, save, and then Emma will do 51 through 91. So you get the idea, and we can put a date on that if we want. So Emma will start on the 10th. I should have given Anne's a more specific date range too, but you can come back in and edit all of this too. But it gives you the idea of how you can assign individual steps to individuals on a single protocol this way. Right, what else was I going to say? The next thing, well, I'll go back to the slides very quickly. So Excel file preview options. So we are aware that a lot of users have very complicated Excel files that they're working with alongside protocols. Protocols.io does have table functionality, and as I showed you, the Excel formulas will work in there, but it's not a replacement for Excel, and we don't have the ability to kind of embed fully Excel files so that you can edit them like you would in something that was kind of between teams, like Microsoft different tools. However, what you can do is upload a file and it will allow you to preview it. So I'm going to just jump out and show you really quickly how you do that. So we have, if we want to pull in an Excel file, I have, here's one I made earlier. It's my very British Blue Peter approach to demos. So I've made an Excel file previously. I'm going to upload this file here. So we have attach a file is right here, and I can drag and drop. I think I have the folder open somewhere. There we go. So I'll grab, I don't know if you can actually see my mouse, but I've got the sample plate map XLS XLSX file, and I'm dropping it in, and it will just upload that for me. So I've got my file pulled in. When I mouse over it, it asks me if I want to preview the file. So I say, yes, please. And it shows me this. And in this instance, it actually shows me all the coloring as well that I've got on that file, which is really nice. I will note, though, that the color, the preview of the color is very dependent on you having used the standard color range palette. If you use any other kind of themes or you create your own, they won't show up, but it will pull in the standard colors. So just be aware of that if this is something that you're actually planning to use. And then back to the files, the plate map functionality. So I will go through the slides for it, but then I will show you for real in the platform again. So we added some really nice functionality to pull in plate maps, well plate maps for screens. Under components, you will find the well plate map component. And when you click to include that in a protocol step, it will ask you if you want to choose a template. So sort of standard 6 well plate, 12 well plate, ... Or you can define your own rows and columns, or you can import an Excel file. So if you have something like that sample plate map, you can actually import that into protocols.io, and the notes that are on there will be pulled in as well. When you've made or created a well plate map, when you click on any cell, you can edit the cell color individually. When you click on any cell, you can add a note on top of it. You can, I think, edit the heading, row, and columns as well. That being, I don't know if that came through. That's the email finally arriving about the tasks. I'll show you that in a minute. There are also kind of general color settings that you can select for the entire thing. So we have some preloaded patterns that you can choose and assign the colors to the different parts of that. It is a little limited, but if you want to, you can go through every single cell to add the coloring that you want to. You also can, if you've done one and you know that the next one, you've got multiple plate maps, they're going to be very similar in terms of the notation and the coloring, you can copy and paste a whole well plate map using that functionality on the right hand side as well. Right, I won't do Q&A, I'll show you the well plate maps slightly first of all. So if we are in a step and go over to the right, we have the well plate map right at the bottom here. And this is where we can choose from a predefined well plate map size. So here we'll just go with a 12, but you can also do completely bespoke rows and columns to whatever you're doing. So if you've got a 12 well plate map, but you're not going to be completing the whole thing, not going to be using the whole thing, and you're actually only going to be using 3x3, you could just put in 3x3. So you'll create that here. So we've got 3x4. If you remember, the template settings for color, etc., and pattern is over here on the right. Let me get this out of the way. So we've got template settings. So you can click that and I can choose one of these. So maybe I want it to be like this, and we'll have it's like a reddy and a bluey colors, and they get added to that protocol, the well plate map. I can edit the rows and columns accordingly, and I can add text to each individual cell as well. But I can also change the color of one cell if I want to. So you can see that you've got the entire option to configure everything you want to. And I can copy that. And then if I want to, I can paste it again. Did that work? I don't know if that worked. Let's move that one up and we'll paste in here. Maybe it needed to be, normally that should paste in for you the, try copy again. In theory, that should do a paste for you, but I can see that's not working as it should today. So I will be flagging that to the developers after this webinar. Normally that would do you an exact replica. If when you're using protocols.io, something is not working for you, what to do is go back to the kind of workspace view, click on the question and report the bug here. And the team is very, very quick at responding to things. So that's always helpful to know as well. Anyway, that is not working. But you can normally copy paste. The other thing you can do is import a well plate map from a file, which I mentioned as well. And so that lovely Excel that I showed you earlier is a well plate map that I will pull in. So 1 second, and we'll go back here. We'll go to well plate map and we will import Excel file. And that's this sample plate map file that I already have. And it will just take a little moment, upload that, and then I can say create. And it doesn't bring in the colors. We can't do that from the Excel file into the plate map, but it does bring in all the annotation that I've got. And as you saw, I could change the colors afterwards very easily. So you can do quite a lot with this. And you navigate around by kind of just scrolling with your mouse, because it won't, when they're larger, the well plate maps, they won't fully load like that. But if I view, again, you can navigate this way and you can do full screen. So you can see more easily all of the content in that screen. And I think that was all the main things I was going to show today. So I will stop and can take any questions. If anyone has any specific functional questions about how to do something, I'm happy to answer those. If people put hand up, I can unmute if that's easier than adding a question in the chat or the Q&A. I'll stop sharing just for now and just wait a minute or two to see if anyone has any questions. And hopefully that's helpful. Well, I will stop the recording.